Good morning, everyone. I just want to make sure that you have a chair or a stool or something that you can use in your practice today. We're going to be building ourselves up to half moon pose, ardhachandrasana, that full expression. So a chair or a stool or a block, either is fine, okay? But get something, and if you don't have a block, get a nice big thick book, okay? So we will start sitting. Coming on down nice and slowly. And just finding your seat. A nice, comfortable seat. And just a few circles of your whole trunk and pelvic basket over the floor. So feel yourself go from one sit bone toward the pubic bone, toward the other sit bone, toward the tailbone. And then when you get to the front, go back again 3 times in the other direction. Just preparing our seat for a moment. Rolling the whole trunk together. So your back is staying exactly the same for the whole of it. Then a little bit side to side, sit bone to sit bone, like rocking the boat, rocking from one sit bone to the other sit bone. Good. And if your knees are not somewhere close to the ground and you have some blocks handy, just slip them right underneath your knees so that your adductors on the inside of your legs can relax. Check out your hands for a moment, just shake them out. And just let the palms lie on your knees for a moment. Elbows are soft, shoulders are soft, everything's soft. And then let's go inside for just a moment, bringing your senses in. Letting your eyes close. Without changing it, beginning to notice the breath. And then I want you to think a moment about the diaphragm that's going up and down as you breathe. It's attached to the lower ribs and makes a parachute resting on top of your liver and your stomach. And every time you inhale, it pushes down, belly expands a little. And every time you exhale, it comes back and relaxes. So just thinking about it. Don't have to change it, just realizing what's happening inside the body. You may also be aware of the ribs going side to side, front to back. Diaphragm has to move. It doesn't have to push out the belly, it can push out the ribs. But it has to move for you to breathe. Be more conscious breaths. And then bringing the hands into the heart, Anjali Mudra. With gratitude, we salute all the great yoga masters, past and present. A special prayer of thanksgiving for Babaji. With joy, we recognize the excellent wisdom teachings of yoga, Ayurveda, and with vigor, we dedicate ourselves to self-transforming practice. So just take a moment. What do you need for self-transforming practice today? Inside. And form that into an intention, into a sankalpa. Say it positively to yourself 3 times. And then let that thought slip out of your mind and down into your heart. We'll bring it back up. For now, join me in one resounding Om. Exhaling the breath out, letting the belly go, inhaling the chest. And then on your next inhale, letting your eyes flutter open. Let's take our hands back behind us, interlace the fingers there, squeeze the knuckles toward the floor, open your chest, just opening the chest for a moment, a little side to side movement, thoracic. Release the arms, come around the front, give ourselves a hug. Good. Notice which arm is on top. That's the one you're going to take on the bottom the next time. Just notice it. And then we're going to take the arms back behind us again, do the uncomfortable interlace, the one you didn't do. Good. Squeeze the knuckles down toward the floor. Great. And then the other arm on top. Give yourself a hug. Good. You can reach back and do a little massage into your scapula, into your shoulder blades. Great. And then just release the arms and shake out the hands from the whole forearm, from the elbow, shake. Good. And then take your blocks out. And we're going to very easily come into table pose. Okay. I'm going to start table here because I want you to pay attention to my leg. Well, maybe it's even easier to sit from that. But we're going to do a couple of cow poses where we arch the back like a Brahma bull. Arch, 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 arch. And then we come forward like a lazy cat. And other direction. And begin to follow your breath. You can move anything you want with whichever inhale or exhale, but one movement with one breath. Don't sag into your shoulders. Keep your shoulders strong. Keep pushing the floor away. This is not to work the shoulders. This is to work the spine. And then come into a neutral place. And then make sure you can step your right leg back, all the way back. Press into the foot. Press into the ball of the foot. Toes are curled under. Press into the ball of the foot. Right leg back. Just press until you've activated calf, quadriceps. Press into the heel. Heel is active. And then release the leg. And then let's press into the left leg. Press, press, press. Press into the heel, ball of the foot, everything on the back of the leg, front of the leg also. Engage. Good. And then release. Excellent. A little circling movement with your left leg. And then the other direction. And release. Circling with the right leg. And other direction. And release. Good. And then opening up like a puppy at a fire hydrant, just opening up the leg. And then extend the leg out nice and straight. Wherever it goes is perfect. Bring it back and release it. And do that from this side. Okay. And then the other leg. Lift it as high as you can lift, and then straighten the leg. Bend the knee again, and release the leg. Good. And then let's come up onto our knees. Perfect. Great. We're going to externally rotate the left leg. So bring it out. Hide the foot underneath the thigh, so make sure you can't really see it. You can have your knee right over your ankle for this. Notice the external rotation. Good, so just feeling that rotation for a moment. Arms can reach out to the side. Your arm will be behind your left leg. And then gazing out over your left fingers. Shoulders, make sure they're down and relaxed. Belly in, pelvic floor lifted. And then let's take our arms overhead as we bring our gaze back front and center. Good. Bring the hands down past the heart and just relax your arms. And then go ahead and take the leg out with the toes facing up for a moment. Toes facing up. And then roll the toes toward me. And then toes facing up. A couple more times. Roll the toes toward me. Just feel what happens when you're just now abducting There's no rotation. And rotate at the thigh. One more time. Roll the toes toward me. And back up. Good. And then bring it back and down. Okay, same thing other side. Externally rotate your right leg. Make sure your ankle and knee have a strong relationship stacked right on top of the other. External rotation, hip joint, feeling that rotation there. Good. And then arms reaching up, shoulders down. Reach through the fingertips. Your right arm is behind your right leg. Lift the pelvic floor, lift in the belly, transverse abdominis. That belt around the body is working. That thick, long, wide belt working. Good. And then gazing out over your right fingers. Breathe. Notice your belly, notice your pelvic floor. And then we're going to bring the arms up overhead and gaze back front and center. Bring the hands down past the heart. Just relax the arms. And now you can extend the right leg out. Okay? Toes up toward the ceiling. Just your arms can do whatever supports you. If you want them on your as-is bones, that's perfectly fine. And roll the toes toward me and roll them back up. Notice what's happening at the hip joint. You can put your hand right there at the groin. Notice. Roll it down. So there's no rotation. We just abducted. The leg just went away. And now we're going to rotate again. Good. And roll it toward me. Excellent. And roll it toward the ceiling. Perfect. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of help my leg come back up. Good. And then release it. Take our hips toward our heels. And rest for a moment. Just resting, letting your shoulders soften. You can release your pelvic floor and your belly for a moment. Just take a few comfortable breaths. And then we're going to come back into table pose, okay? So coming all the way back out. Surya Churya, sunbird, is going to be our pose for a moment. So we're going to take the right foot back for a moment, right foot back, left arm out. My right toes are on the floor, just like they were before. So then when I'm ready to lift that leg, I'm only going to lift to keep the leg down toward the floor. So I'm looking at Tadasana on my flexed left leg. Breathe, belly's in, pelvic floor is lifted. I'm gazing at the floor to make my Tadasana. And then release the arm and release the leg. Stepping the left foot back, curl the toes under. So notice the foot is on the floor, heel is toward the ceiling, no rotation. And then bring out toward me or toward the other side of the room, wherever you are. But extend out through your right arm. And then as you're ready, lift the left leg. Put little toe, especially, toward the floor, not out to the side. There's no rotation in the leg. Tadasana over your flexed right leg. Release the hand, release the knee, and take a cat. Arch like a bull, and come forward like a cat. And find neutral. So this time you're going to have to pay a little bit more attention to the cue. We're going to step our right leg back. So just stepping the right leg back. Good. We're going to pivot out our left shin. Pivot out, roll onto the inside of the right foot, and then you can lift the right leg. So we're looking for a Tadasana. Press into the floor. Good. And then go ahead and take your hand, unpivot the leg, release the right leg back to the floor. Good. And then step back with your left foot. We're going to pivot out to the side, the right shin, roll onto the inside of the left foot, come up, and then lift the leg. So just finding a kneeling version of an ardhachandrasana. Leg isn't really in the right rotation on the bottom, but it's fine for us to get that extension through the body in Tadasana. Then go ahead and release the arm, unpivot, bring the leg back, bring both knees back even, and then take cat pose, cat-cow. Good, coming into neutral. And from here, we're gonna take a twist. We're gonna thread the needle so that we're really preparing our thoracic spine for breathing while we're in the pose, okay? Great, so right arm out to the side. First, just parallel to the floor, right arm parallel to the floor. Press into your left hand, and then begin to open up toward the right. Now, taking your right arm, sweep it and put it behind your left hand, resting on your right shoulder. Press the whole of the right leg down toward the floor, don't let it move. And then taking your left hand to your sacrum. Opening the left shoulder out to the left. Both feet are even, knees are even. Don't let your legs move, that'll move your hips. The twist is in the thoracic spine, not in the low back. And if you'd like, you can take your hand and arm up toward the ceiling. Palm will be facing in the same direction as your face. And then place that left hand on the floor in front of your face. Stack the left elbow on top of the wrist. And then unwind all the way back open to the right. Good. And then replace. Breathe so you can notice any difference in the size. Great. Okay. Now, left arm out. First, just parallel. So get yourself nice and squared to your mat. Your sternum is facing the floor. Your arm is parallel to the floor. Left arm parallel to the floor. Then press into the right arm and open to the right. Open to the left. Sorry. Press into the right arm and open to the left. Press into the feet evenly. Feet are long, toes are not pointed, but all on the floor. And then sweep your arm, hand reaching behind the right hand, resting on your left shoulder. Press into the left leg and foot evenly. Feet are even, hips are even. Taking your right hand to your sacrum. Not letting your feet and hips and legs move is key. Keep opening the right shoulder out to the right. If you'd like, you can lift the right arm, palm facing the right side. Press evenly into the left leg, don't let it move. And then go ahead and take the right hand, place it on the floor in front of your face, stack the right elbow on top, and then press into the floor and come back up, open up to the left. Good. And then replace both hands, come back into your cat pose. Great. Take one arching cat, and as you arch, really pull the chin into the chest. And then slowly take your hips back towards your heels. Come out of the pose into seated. Good. Then curl the toes under, and we're headed up. Okay? First, just a little ball of the foot, toe balance, it's called. Ball of the foot, coming up. Balancing on the ball of the foot. Hold on to anything you might need to hold on to. And then we're gonna stand up and try to stay on the ball of our feet. Just try to stay on the ball of the feet. Good. Walk around a bit, give a little massage to your kidneys, tucked right underneath your ribs. That massages the adrenal glands. And then rest into your heels. Great. Okay. So let's take our stance nice and wide. Good. So we're going to work with that external rotation for just a minute, because when we do that Tadasana over our externally rotated leg for ardhachandrasana, we want it to be comfortable in that joint. Okay, externally rotate the left leg and unrotate. Put your hand in your belly button. Externally rotate the right leg and unrotate. Take my whole trunk with me. So I'm not leaving one thing and I'm not adding a twist. Taking my whole trunk with me as nature moves it. Okay, externally rotate, left side. And back. Right side. And back. One more time. Left side. And back. And right side. Back. Great. And then just coming over, all the way over until you form a nice long line of energy. Your hands can be on the floor, they can be on a block, wherever you can find that long line of energy. Breathe, pull in the belly, pull up the pelvic floor. Great. And on our next exhale, you can bend your elbows a little and push up. Good. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Just letting that rest for a moment. Even though we just rotated and unrotated, just letting our adductors, our hip flexors, our rotators, let everything just rest for a moment. Good. And legs back apart. Excellent. Wiggle. Just moving those joints. And then let's externally rotate the left leg. Great. Okay. Bend the left knee and find that length in your body. Good. Just finding the length. Arms can reach out. Excellent. Lean a little. Find the long Tadasana line right here. This is side angle without our arms, and that's fine. We don't need to use our arms for a moment. Just finding that long Tadasana line. So you have a Tadasana over your externally rotated and bent left leg. Great, let's push up, straighten the leg, and unrotate. Rotate the right leg. Bend the knee, stack it, knee over the ankle. You need to kick out your left foot a little. Good. So arms reaching for a moment, just reach, and then relax the arms. Good. And then lean, find your Tadasana. You can rest your hands somewhere on your leg, just don't drop your weight in there. So finding Tadasana, belly, knee, feet, face, sternum, everything out toward me. Good. Tadasana. So not anything down, all open. Tadasana, opening and reaching up. Good. And then let's exhale, come up, straighten the leg. And unrotate. And again, heel toe. Rest the abductors, rest the flexors, the rotators, resting. Good. And this time we're going to take the pose. So you might put your chair over on your left side to begin. Get nice and broad and wide. Okay. Wiggle. And then externally rotate your left leg. Great. So the knee is active. The quadricep is lifted, everything is up, your belly button is a little bit over to the left side. Good, so let's bend our knee, go through our warrior two. Lean, go through our side angle. Just keep your right hand on your hip, okay? So I've just leaned, so I have that sense of Tadasana. My chair is not far. I'm going to take a little half hop, and then I'm going to place my hand on the chair and see about raising my leg. And I need my leg to be like it was on the floor, even with my body. So if I lower my body, I may need to raise my leg. Or if my body is up, my leg may be below. I need a Tadasana over my left leg. Breathing. Then bend your knee and exhale and come back. Good. Let's unrotate that leg. And now rotating your right leg. And over here I have a block. So it'll look a little different because that one I can stay up and this one will have to go down a little. Okay? Good. So let's start in warrior two, legs. Just place your left hand somewhere on your hip, on your as is pose. Good. Let's lean so we get into that side angle pose so we know where that is. We have that Tadasana over our externally rotated leg. Good. Okay. And then I'm going to take a little hop. And then another little hop. And grab close, hit the wall. And as I'm getting ready now, you can look at the floor. You can open your chest and look out toward the same side as your foot, but flex the foot, keep your Tadasana. Don't block your standing knee. Leave it bendable. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe. Good. And then on your next exhale, bend your knee a little and then push off. Come back up. Good. Unrotate. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Standing Shavasana. Close your eyes. Take 6 or 8 breaths. Soft pelvic floor, soft belly, soft shoulders, soft jaw. And then on your next inhale, letting your eyes flutter open. Okay? So let's go back. Nice broad stance. Wiggle a little. This time we'll start with the right side first. Okay? So externally rotate the right leg. Good. So these triangle legs we have right here, you can bend over, checking your side angle from that, checking the angle of your Tadasana. Find your Tadasana. Good. Then bend your right leg a little. And as we get ready to do our hop and look for our ardhachandrasana, look down at the floor first. Look down at your foot, down at your right foot, your right leg. A little half hop. Grab your block or put your hand on your chair, wherever you are. And then as you're ready, begin to raise your back leg. Flex the foot and press through the heel. The action in the leg is of key importance. Your right leg is bendable. And if you'd like to, you can take your left arm up towards the ceiling. On your next exhale, a little bend and push off. Excellent. Come back into neutral and then externally rotate the left leg. Again, keep the leg a triangle leg, bend so you get that Tadasana first. You may need to kick out your back heel a little to find that strong Tadasana. Toes, knees, belly, chest, everything facing front. Great. And then look at the floor, look at your foot. And then as you're ready, bend your knee a little, like that hop. Find your chair, your block, whatever you've got. You can keep looking at the floor, or you can take your gaze slowly, mindfully, out toward the side. Flex the foot, toes are to the side, not to the floor, not up. Tadasana, over your externally rotated left leg. If you'd like, right arm up toward the ceiling. Good. And then push off on an exhale and come up. Good. Back into no rotation, and then coming over at the hip. If you can invert, so if you're doing inversion, if you're not on your cycle, if you don't have glaucoma, eye pressure problems, or active acid reflux, you're welcome to relax in the pose. Otherwise, stay up parallel to the floor and breathe. And then everybody back parallel to the floor, whether you left it or not, above parallel. Put your hands at the top of the thighs. Take an inhale. Get long in the spine. Exhale up. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Good. Toes come front and center for a moment. Bend your knees just a little bit. So toes and knees are toward the center. Just that little bit of a squat, okay? And just see where you are. Now bring your heels in. One more time, heels. See where you are. Good. Just that little squat. Bring your toes in one more time. Good. And then stand up. Excellent. Relax your arms. Relax your pelvic floor, your belly, shoulders, jaw. Close your eyes. 6 or 8 breaths. Good. And then we're going to come down through a squat. So begin to bend your knees. Look for your squat. Come up onto the ball of the foot if you like, wherever you need to be. Good. You bring your arms inside your legs if you can. Hands into Namaskar. Let your back round. Go ahead and take your chin to your chest. Round. Peel your chin off the chest, begin to look forward, and slowly help yourself down to the floor. Good. Let's extend out the right leg, toes facing the ceiling, and then left leg out to the side. Put the left foot along the top of the right thigh. If your left knee isn't on the floor, a blanket, a block, anything underneath the knee, it's stable. Sit up on your sit bones. So maybe bring that right hip back into the socket. It's kind of moving out. Bring it back. Make sure you're facing front and center, belly button right out to the very center. Good. Janu Shirshasana. So Janu is your knee. Shira is your head. Where the crown of the head, between the crown of the head and the hairline. Okay? So we're thinking about creating an energy circle here. So we have to actually curl our spine. Keep pressing the right leg toward the floor. Flex the foot. Keep the heel on the floor, firmly on the floor. Curl your spine with the intention of Shira, Janu, connecting energetically. Your spine is rounded. Your chin is tucked into your chest. Press your hands into the floor. And then as you inhale, look out past your toes. Press into your hands. Let your hands help come up, not your low back muscles. Good. Extend out your left leg. Get even for a moment. Bend the right knee. Place the right foot on the inner thigh. If you need your block on the other side, block or pillow or whatever you need. Left foot toward the ceiling, not any out to the side, certainly not inward, toward the ceiling. Good. And then we're going to start that curling, pulling your belly, pulling your chest, curl your chin to your chest. Finding that relationship, Janu, the knee, the Shira, the space between, it's really between the third eye and the crown of the head, all the way into that space. Keep tucking, curling. You can press into the floor with your hands. Keep your left foot flexed. Toes toward the ceiling. Good. And then gaze out past. Push into your arms and hands. Come up. Extend the leg out. Good. Wiggle your toes a bit. Great. And then I want us to do, from where you are, I want us to do a little seated cat-cow. So curl for a moment like you were, taking your knees toward the crown of the head toward your knees. Pull your belly in, get round. And then let your hands find their way to the shins, top of the shins below the knee. And come up and look. And lower. And come up and look up. Lower the body, belly to spine. Come up in the elbows. And lower, straighten the elbows, tuck in the chin, and come up. Good. And then I want us to engage in reverse table for a moment. So reverse table. Keep your knees where they are. Put your hands back behind you. You can put your hands in either direction, whichever feels best to you, to your shoulder girdle. Okay? And then we're going to come up. Knees over ankles, so if they should have been placed where it felt relatively comfortable. Looking at your belly button, seeing your belly button. Chin is tucked. Press into the floor, lift your belly. 2 more breaths. And then on your next exhale, release. Good. Come back up to seated. Excellent. And then we're going to make our way to the floor in just a moment. We're going to do bridge pose, which is an inversion. So if you are not inverting, if you're under cycle, glaucoma, activity reflex, what we talked about, don't invert. Not for you today. Okay? Everybody else, we're going to do bridge. Those of you who are not inverting, we're going to lay down, spread your legs apart, and let your legs drop to either side as you arch your spine, but lying down, doing windshield wiper pose. Okay? Grab a block, those of you who are doing bridge pose, in case you want to support your bridge, lying down. Good. Bring the heels in relatively close. Well, let's bend the knees and take the feet off the floor. Put the heels right above your sit bone. Just let them be where they are. And then put your hands right between your knees so you have about 1 fist between your knees. And then drop your feet to the floor. Don't lose the fist between your knees. Wherever your feet come to, it's perfect. Good. Press the shoulder blades down in the floor and toward your heels. Push the shoulders down towards your heels. You're going to find your spine start to arch, and then follow that arch and come up. Good. Take a gaze back at the wall behind you. Get any tension out of your neck. Find a little space in your neck. Bring your head into neutral. Press into the full of the arms, all of the arms, and then lower and come back up. So you can come up and stay, or you can come up and down 2 or 3 times. You decide what you'd like to do. It's your bridge. Press into the shoulders. The shoulder blades are pushing down. If you'd like to grab your block and put it underneath your sacrum, you can rest in that bridge. If you'd like to go even further in your inversion, this is the time to do that. If you decide you'd like to take Viparita Karni Mudra, topsy-turvy, legs up, or if you'd like to take another inversion, shoulder stand, headstand, whatever you practice in your own practice, feel free to do that now. I'm staying in supported bridge. If you're on the floor and doing windshield wiper, be sure as you drop your legs to the side, you are arching your spine. And then think about completing your inversion. Wherever you are, if you're on a block, come off, come back into through past your bridge, then down to the floor. And then slowly find yourself in Shavasana. So just letting go. Don't feel trapped by your mat, feel like a starfish, not that you're trapped inside the space of your mat. Let your body go. Babaji says this is the hardest pose, just letting go. No breath control here, just letting the body breathe you. Slowly and gently, bringing your awareness into the body, finding the breath in the belly or the chest, just finding. Beginning to roll your eyes in the sockets, one direction, then the other. Letting the tongue roam the mouth, the back of the teeth, the roof of the mouth, swishing it along the front of the teeth. Then opening the mouth wide as if you were yawning. Beginning to move the jaw, crippling the ears, wiggling the nose. Beginning to move the fingers and the toes, bringing all of our senses online. Bend the knees, feet on the floor. Lift your hips off the floor, swish them over to one side and drop your knees to the other side. Curl up in a little ball, embryo pose. Resting in this ardhachandrasana for a moment, just letting go. Surrender completely for just a moment. And then with the hand of your upper arm, place it on the floor in front of your face. Begin to push the floor away. Chin tucked into chest. Letting your head be the very last thing that comes up, and balance is on your spine. Finding a comfortable seat. Notice the difference in your seat now and the seat you took at the beginning of the class. Just noticing it. Feeling into the body. Letting your legs relax. If you don't have your legs on the floor, please lift the hips, put them on a block or something until you get your knees to the floor, or support the knees on either side, but please let your adductors relax after all of this work. And the only way for that to happen is for your knees to be making contact. Our pranayama practice this morning, we're going to work on just the yogic breath for a moment, okay? So our yogic breath combines the abdominal breath with the chest breath. We bring the breath down into the belly by just relaxing the belly. And then we pull the breath up into the chest as the belly comes back in all by itself, but because the chest expands, the diaphragm expands out to the side, the belly follows out. And then it's a long, slow, gentle exhale. Okay? So I'm going to walk us through a couple of rounds. My voice will peel off. Continue at your own pace. So beginning with exhaling the breath all the way out. Pull the belly into the spine as you exhale finally. Exhale. Relax the belly. Breath comes in. And then draw that same inhale up into the chest. Let the breath expand the ribs side to side. Belly follows out all by itself. Top of the inhale, slight pause. Exhale slowly, gently. No force at all until you get to the very bottom of the exhale. Pull the belly back to the spine. Then release the belly. Breath comes in. Pulling that same inhale into the chest. Belly comes back in by itself. Ribs expand. Don't forget back ribs, side ribs, front ribs. Top of the inhale, pause. Exhale. Let the lungs deflate all on their own. Only when you get to the very bottom of the exhale are you using those abdominal muscles to push out the last bit of air. Pull the belly in. Relax the belly. One more breath. Feel the belly come in all on its own as the breath moves into the chest. Top of the inhale, pause. Exhale. Letting the deflation happen all on its own until you get to the very bottom. Hug in the belly a little bit. Then release the belly for the new breath. Continuing on in your own rate. Full yogic breath. Don't forget the back ribs. Don't take it too high, never above the clavicle. Not in this particular way of practice. Focus on the practice itself, the mechanics of it. If you're past that, focus at Ajna Chakra. Keep the mind focused. Whatever you're doing, keep the mind focused on the breath or at Ajna Chakra. Slow it down, smooth it out. Are you using any other parts of the body that you don't need now? Letting the lungs, the rib cage, the serratus, all the muscles support breathing. But you don't need your legs, you don't need your arms. And then after your next exhale, slowly bringing the practice to a close. Take the time that you need, finish your breath, and then sitting for a few moments, just noticing the effects of the practice. Moving gently into our meditation. Hum, sa. Hum, sa. I am that. I am that. Hum, hum on the inhale, sa on the exhale. Letting the vibration of the mantra hum, sa. Hum, sa. Relaxing into the mantra. The bowl will ring at the end. We'll release the mantra. For now, just falling into hum, sa. Hum, sa. I am not controlling the breath. Bringing the mantra into the rhythm of your own breath. Letting the ambient noises just be part of where you are. Yes, there's a saw in the background. Let it go. Um, um. HamSa. 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 Releasing the mantra. Bringing yourself back to the body, back to the mind, back to the senses. Bringing the hands into the heart. Anjali. Just taking a moment to practice gratitude. And then remembering your sankalpa, your intention. Saying it to yourself 3 times. Any merit that we may have earned this morning in our diligent practice of yoga, we lift it up to the welfare of all sentient. Your gratitude, your intention, all become an offering. Letting those thoughts slip out of your mind, down into your heart, and out of your heart into the palms of your hands. And then lift it up and just let go off into the infinite space. Hands back into the heart. Hari Om Tat Sat. Namaste. I'm coming to you. Okay, let me fix it where you can speak. Excellent. Now you can talk and let me get gallery view so I can see your pretty faces. Great. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm okay, but I need more exercise. I'm going to go now, dear.
Okay, Pratibha, nice to see you. Thanks for joining.
Thank
Any questions, any comments, anything about today's practice? How was that building up to ardhachandrasana for you? Did it make it easier for you to actually get there as we kind of broke out all of the different parts that make up that particular asana and practice them ahead of time and then put it all together? Did that help? Yes? No? Good, good, good. Um, yeah, I think it's really important, and I have several teachers on this, as you know. And I think when we're planning our class and beginning to sequence our class, our deber, our duty, is to think what are all of the little intricate things that go into that pose that make it possible for someone to have success at that pose. What do I need to create for the student to feel comfortable when we finally get there, right? And so it takes breaking it down to the most minuscule things like the foot flex, where the knee is placed, the relationship of knee, ankle, hip, hip, knee, ankle relationship, right? What it looks like if you're abducted versus if abducted and externally rotated. What all of those different things that make up the pose, if we've worked those areas, then it becomes much more accessible to us, and we kind of just move into it gradually rather than like all of a sudden you haven't done enough external rotation in the leg, you haven't used your hip flexors enough, you haven't even used your leg and your foot enough. Then the pose is like, well, we all know. We all know what that feels like. We've all had to do ardhachandrasana just at the drop of a hat with no real prep in the class for it. We've all had that happen. So, I get the benefit of knowing I have an hour class. Well, actually, I have 35 minutes for asana. That's all I really have is 35 minutes because I want to be sure that I get you down to the floor for an inversion of some sort, and then shavasana, and then pranayama, and then meditation. So we have 35 minutes. So I try to have some one pose in mind that we're going to build to, or at least a purpose of the class. So if you have particular poses that you've never really understood why you can or can't do that pose, feel free to always put it in the chat, that particular pose or a particular, or tell me too. I mean, either way is fine. But just, putting it out there so that we can dissect that pose together and see why it's not accessible or why it provides such a challenge for all of us. Okay, so tell me about your yogic breath. Did you feel your belly hollow out as you moved it into your chest? Yes, no? You can say no. No's fine, but say something. Yes or no?
I thought it was a challenge, it was challenging to do that.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. So what happens with the diaphragm is what I want us to think about. That's what I was talking about. So here's the parachute. This is what the diaphragm looks like. And it's sitting over your stomach on your left side and your liver on your right side. And when it's relaxed, that means when you've had an exhale, this is what it looks like. When you inhale, and it inflates like an umbrella opening, right? That's often why we call things bellows breath for Bastrika, right? Because it's like an umbrella opening. So right here, the very core part of the diaphragm, which is white, fascia, there's no blood there. All of that white part is connected to the heart. It's at the very, it's connected, your heart is in fascia that is connected to the top of your diaphragm, right? So that heart breath connection is physical as well as mental. So here's the diaphragm. So when you start the belly breath, you know, the belly pooches out a little bit down there. And then when you start to bring it into the chest, it continues up like that. And so this is no longer needed. So when you pull your belly back to the spine, and all of this now is empty, you know, this is empty. Then when you start, you just let the belly go, and then you start to pull it out. And as you start to spread that out to the side, this hollows out because there's no reason for those organs to stay there. I mean, they got pushed out initially, and then they come back in. So I want you to think about that. And so you need to practice that some, right? So for example, I'm gonna take my camera. This is a camera that I can take up wherever I want, so you can see what I see. Okay, so I'm gonna put it at my belly for a second. All right, so right here's my belly. And then I'm gonna try and do a yogic breath. Maybe I'll just try to do it where you can see my ribs. Okay, so here are my ribs. My ribs you can see, okay? So here are my ribs. I'm gonna exhale the breath out, and I'm gonna have to shut up and just do it because I can't do both, okay? There are my ribs. You can see my little sports bra. And I just took another big one at the end. So did you see what I mean? How it starts to hollow out at the bottom? It's not that I'm forcing that to happen. That's just what happens. And you know, I know not everybody has these ribs that I have, which I have these little tiny bird ribs. And so maybe your ribs look a lot different. Maybe they're further out to the side. Maybe you have more of a barrel chest. You know, I've always had these little tiny ribs. I was one of those girls that had like a 22-inch waistline, you know, because I just had these little tiny ribs here. So that's just how you're built. You can't do anything about that. But that space below your ribs, that space right there, below your ribs, there's my belly fat, right? That space is no longer needed. When you take your first inhale, belly pooches out. And then when you start to pull it up into the chest, the belly itself starts to hollow out. So hopefully that was enough visual for you to be thinking about it and practicing it, okay? I have no shame when it comes to showing what you need. You can see my belly and all my wrinkles and everything. I don't care, right? At least you get it. Yeah. Okay, well, I have to run in town and sign some papers, so I'm going to let you guys go 5 minutes early. Thank you for coming to class. It's wonderful to see you. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday and Thursday. I do miss my Spanish class. I'm going to have to pick one up because I do miss not doing it in Spanish on Tuesday. So, but I'll see you on Tuesday in English and then next Thursday. Have a great week. Have a wonderful weekend. Much love.